Wealthy CEO called his wife a liar, and he was surprised to see the kids look exactly like him. The champagne glass slipped from his fingers and shattered against the marble floor. The sound echoed through the Metropolitan Museum like a gunshot, and every head in the room turned toward Dominic Ashford. But he did not notice them. He did not notice the whispers or the stares or the photographers capturing the moment. His entire world had narrowed to a single point: a woman descending the grand staircase in a midnight blue gown that seemed to shimmer like liquid starlight. Vivienne. His Vivienne. The woman he had destroyed 7 years ago. The woman he had called a liar, a fraud, a gold digger. The woman he had thrown out of their $40 million penthouse with nothing but the clothes on her back. But this was not the broken woman who had walked into the snow that February night. This woman moved like a queen. Her shoulders were back. Her chin was high. Her eyes held the kind of power that only comes from surviving the unsurvivable. She stopped 3 feet away from him, close enough that he could smell her perfume. Something expensive, something new, something that reminded him she was no longer his. Vivienne. His voice came out strangled, barely a whisper. She tilted her head slightly, studying him like he was a stranger. "Hello, Dominic. It has been a while. You are..." He could not form complete sentences. His mind was short-circuiting. "You are V. Laurent. You built all of this. You are. I built it from nothing." Her voice was calm, controlled, giving away nothing. "After you took everything else away, my talent was all I had left. That, and 2 children who gave me a reason to keep fighting." The color drained from his face so quickly that a nearby waiter stepped forward, thinking he might collapse. Children. Twins. Sebastian and Isabel. They are 7 years old now. Beautiful, brilliant, and the reason I am still standing. Vivienne paused, letting the words sink in like knives. "They look just like you, Dominic. Everyone who sees them comments on their gray eyes and dark curls. But you would not know that, would you? Because you decided I was a liar before you ever looked for the truth. What would you do if the person you destroyed came back more powerful than you ever imagined and brought proof of your greatest mistake?" 7 years ago, Dominic Ashford made a choice that would haunt him for the rest of his life. He looked at his pregnant wife, the woman who had given him everything, and called her a liar, a gold digger, a fraud. He threw her out of their home with nothing but a single suitcase and shattered dreams. Have you ever trusted someone completely, only to have them turn on you when you needed them most? Have you ever been accused of something you did not do and watched helplessly as people believed lies about you? Or maybe, and this is harder to admit, have you ever been so afraid of being hurt that you hurt someone else first? This is a story about what happens when pride destroys love, when a mother's manipulation tears apart a marriage, when a man realizes too late that he sacrificed everything real for everything fake. But it is also a story about rising from ashes, about a woman who built an empire while the world counted her out, about children who grew up without a father until the night he finally saw the truth written in their faces. But here is the question that will keep you watching until the very end. When Dominic finally discovers the children are his, when he realizes he threw away the only woman he ever loved, will it be too late? Can some mistakes ever be forgiven? And what happens when the person you wronged holds all the power? Before we dive into this incredible journey, I want to ask you something. If you believe in second chances, if you believe that the truth always finds its way to the surface, hit that like button right now. And if you have ever been underestimated by someone who later regretted it, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Now, let us begin with how these 2 souls found each other and how quickly paradise can become a prison. 8 years earlier, Paris Fashion Week. The backstage area of the Maison Beaumont show was chaos incarnate. Models rushed past in various states of undress. Assistants screamed into headsets. Fabric flew through the air like wounded birds. And in the middle of it all, a 24-year-old woman named Vivienne Moreau was trying to prevent a disaster. The zipper is stuck. The model was near tears, her hands shaking. "I cannot breathe, and I cannot get it unstuck, and the show starts in 15 minutes. Vivienne grabbed her emergency kit and dropped to her knees behind the model. "Stop moving. Stop breathing so hard. I need you to be still. But Madame Beaumont will kill me if I am late. Madame Beaumont will kill us both if you rip this dress. Now hold still." Vivienne worked with the precision of a surgeon, her fingers finding the caught thread and gently extracting it from the zipper teeth. She had been doing this for 3 years now. working 18-hour days for a demanding designer who took credit for every success and blamed Vivienne for every failure. But this was the path to her dreams. This was how you learned. This was how you eventually got to create your own designs. The zipper slid free with a satisfying sound. There, you are perfect. Now go. Third position. Remember to pause at the turn. The model kissed her cheek and ran toward the runway entrance. Vivienne allowed herself exactly 3 seconds of relief before grabbing her tablet and checking the lineup. 2 more quick changes. 1 potential hem issue. And somewhere in this chaos, she needed to find the replacement buttons for the finale gown. She turned quickly, already moving toward the supply area, and collided directly with a wall of expensive fabric. "Excuse me." She did not look up, just tried to move around the obstacle. "You are in my path, and I have approximately 90 seconds to find pearl buttons before my career ends." The wall of expensive fabric did not move. Vivienne finally looked up, ready to unleash 7 different languages worth of frustration, and found herself staring into the grayest eyes she had ever seen. They belonged to a man who looked like he had been carved from marble and dressed by angels. Tall, dark hair with just a hint of silver at the temples despite appearing to be in his early 30s. A jaw that could cut glass, and an expression of surprised amusement that suggested he was not accustomed to being treated like an obstacle. Pearl buttons. He repeated the words like they were a foreign language. Yes, pearl buttons. Small, round things, usually white, sewn onto fabric. Perhaps you have seen them in your clearly very sheltered life. His lips twitched. "I am familiar with the concept. I am just not used to being spoken to quite so directly." "Then you should spend less time in the way of busy people." Vivienne finally spotted the supply cabinet over his shoulder. "Now, if you will excuse me." She tried to move past him. He stepped aside at the exact same moment, and they ended up doing an awkward dance in the narrow corridor. Left. Right. Left again. Oh, for heaven's sake. Vivienne planted her feet. "You stand still. I will go around you, as you wish." He stepped back against the wall, giving her a small bow that somehow managed to be both mocking and charming. Vivienne retrieved her buttons, checked them twice, and was about to disappear back into the chaos when his voice stopped her. "What is your name?" She did not turn around. "Vivienne Moreau." "What is yours?" "Dominic Ashford." The name meant nothing to her. There was a slight pause as if he expected a different reaction. Then she heard what might have been a laugh. "It was nice colliding with you, Vivienne Moreau." She was already gone, sprinting toward the finale gown with 40 seconds to spare. Later that night, after the show had ended and Madame Beaumont had taken her, Bose and Vivienne had packed up the emergency kit and repaired 3 hems, and steamed 17 wrinkles and done everything else required of an invisible assistant. She found herself at a tiny wine bar near her apartment. It was her ritual after major shows. 1 glass of good wine, 1 hour of silence, 1 moment to remember why she put up with the rest of it. She did not expect to find Dominic Ashford sitting at the bar. "Are you following me?" The words came out before she could stop them. He turned, and that surprised amusement was back in his eyes. "Actually, I believe you followed me. I have been here for an hour. Unless you think I somehow predicted you would come to this specific wine bar after the show and positioned myself accordingly." Vivienne considered this. It seemed unlikely, but not impossible. Manhattan billionaires probably did stranger things for entertainment. Wait, she replayed his words. Manhattan billionaires. She had not said anything about Manhattan. She had not known anything about him except his name. He read her expression with unsettling accuracy. "You looked me up. I did no such thing. I have been too busy saving a fashion show from 18 different disasters to look up random men who block corridors." "Then how do you know about Manhattan?" "I do not. You just told me." Dominic blinked. Then he laughed. A real laugh that transformed his entire face, made him look younger, less guarded, more human. "Most people know who I am before I introduce myself. It influences how they interact with me." He gestured to the empty stool beside him. "Can I buy you a drink? As an apology for blocking your corridor." "1 drink." Vivienne sat down, leaving 1 stool between them. "And I am still not looking you up. Whatever it is you do, it does not matter to me. Truly, truly." She accepted the wine he ordered and took a slow sip. I have spent 3 years working for a woman who believes the entire universe revolves around her name and reputation. I have had enough of people who think their identity should impress me. Tell me something real instead. Something real. Something that has nothing to do with whatever business card you carry. Something that you would tell a stranger you never expect to see again. Dominic was quiet for a long moment, studying her with those gray eyes. Then he set down his drink and turned to face her fully. I came to Paris because I could not breathe in New York anymore. My mother is pressuring me to marry someone suitable, whatever that means. My brother is the only family member who does not want something from me. And I have not had a real conversation in so long that I forgot what one feels like. He paused, until you crashed into me backstage and told me I was in your way. Vivian felt something shift in her chest. A recognition of loneliness in someone else. A kinship she had not expected. My parents died when I was 19. Car accident. Drunk driver. She had no idea why she was telling him this. I came to Paris because it was far enough away that the memories could not follow me. My father was a tailor. My mother was a seamstress. I learned to sew before I learned to read, and every stitch I make is a conversation with them. I am sorry. His voice was soft. About your parents, and I am sorry about your mother. Whoever she wants you to marry, I hope you choose for yourself instead. They talked until the wine bar closed. Then they walked along the Seine until the sun came up. He told her about the company he ran, how it felt like a golden cage. She told him about her dreams of her own fashion line, how impossible they seemed. He admitted he had not laughed in months. She admitted she had not let anyone see her cry in years. When they finally parted at her apartment building, the sky was pink with dawn. I have to fly back to New York tomorrow. Dominic stood at a careful distance, as if respecting boundaries she had not even drawn. But I would very much like to see you again, Vivian Moreau. That seems impractical. You live in Manhattan. I live in Paris. I own a private jet. Of course you do. And you have a phone. And there are these things called video calls. Very modern. Perhaps you have heard of them. Vivian laughed despite herself. One phone call. We will see if you are as interesting across an ocean as you are in person. He was. For 6 months, they talked across time zones. Late-night calls that turned into early morning calls. Video chats while she worked and he pretended to pay attention to board meetings. He flew to Paris 3 times to watch her work, sitting quietly in corners of fashion shows, learning her world. She flew to New York twice, staying in hotels despite his invitations to his penthouse, determined to maintain her independence. On her 3rd visit, he took her to a tiny Italian restaurant in Brooklyn where no one knew his name. Halfway through the meal, he set down his fork and looked at her with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. I need to tell you something. Vivian braced herself. This was usually when men revealed the complications. The wife, the girlfriend, the reason they could not commit. I am falling in love with you. Dominic said the words like they surprised him too. I did not plan for this. I did not even think I was capable of it anymore. But when I am not talking to you, I am thinking about talking to you. When I am not with you, I am counting the days until I can be again. You have completely disrupted my entire existence, and I do not want you to stop. Vivian's heart was hammering so hard, she was certain the entire restaurant could hear it. That is very inconvenient, I know. I have a career in Paris. You have a life in New York. I know that too. Long-distance relationships rarely work. This one will. How can you be so certain? Because I refuse to accept any alternative. They finished dinner. They walked along the waterfront, and when he finally kissed her, soft and questioning, Vivian knew she was in trouble. 2 months later, he proposed, not with a grand gesture or a public spectacle, but in her tiny Paris apartment over burnt toast that set off the smoke alarm. I was going to wait. He knelt on her kitchen floor, coughing through the smoke, holding a ring box. I had a plan. There was going to be champagne and a view and probably violins. But I cannot wait anymore. I need you in my life permanently. I need you to marry me. Vivian looked at this man on his knees in her imperfect apartment with smoke, alarms blaring and burnt bread on the counter, and absolutely no violins in sight. And she knew that this was more real than any planned perfection could ever be. Yes, she pulled him to his feet. But you should know something first. Anything. There are things about me that might disappoint you. Things I cannot promise. There is nothing about you that could disappoint me. I have a medical condition. Endometriosis. The doctors say I might never be able to have children. I understand if that changes things for you. Dominic cupped her face in his hands. It changes nothing. I want you, not some hypothetical future version of you. You, as you are, right now. They were married 3 months later, and for one beautiful year, Vivian believed she had found her happily ever after. The Ashford estate sat 45 minutes north of Manhattan, a sprawling monument to old money and older expectations. Vivian first visited it 2 weeks after the engagement, holding Dominic's hand as their car wound up a private drive lined with trees that had been planted before either of them was born. Try not to be nervous. Dominic squeezed her fingers. My mother can smell fear. That is tremendously comforting. Thank you. She has strong opinions, but so do you. Just be yourself. Vivian had learned early in life that being herself was not always an advantage. People wanted you to be smaller than you were, quieter, more accommodating. But she had also learned that shrinking never worked. Eventually, you lost yourself entirely. So she straightened her spine and lifted her chin and walked into the Ashford estate like she belonged there. Eleanor Ashford was waiting in a sitting room that probably cost more to decorate than Vivian's entire apartment. She was a striking woman in her 60s, silver hair perfectly coiffed, wearing enough pearls to fund a small country. Her smile when they entered did not reach her eyes. So, this is the Parisian. Eleanor did not rise to greet them. You may sit. Mother. Dominic's voice held a warning note. Her name is Vivian. I know her name. I simply find it interesting that we are learning about your engagement from news reports rather than from you directly. I wanted to tell you in person. Dominic guided Vivian to a settee, sitting close beside her. Which is why we are here. Indeed. Eleanor finally turned her gaze to Vivian, examining her like a specimen under glass. Tell me about your family, Vivian. There is not much to tell. My parents passed away several years ago. My father was a tailor. My mother was a seamstress. They taught me everything I know about fashion. How quaint. Eleanor's tone made the word sound like an insult. And your education. Design school in Paris after university. I am currently working for Maison Beaumont while developing my own designs. Working for, not owning. Not yet. And your financial situation. Before meeting my son. Vivian felt Dominic tense beside her. Mother, this is inappropriate. It is a fair question, Eleanor said smoothly. She's about to marry into one of the wealthiest families in the country. I simply want to understand her circumstances. Vivian placed a calming hand on Dominic's arm. My circumstances are modest, Mrs. Ashford. I have student loans and a small apartment and a job that barely covers my expenses. I am not marrying your son for his money. I am marrying him because I love him and he makes me a better version of myself. Eleanor studied her for a long moment. Love. How romantic. Tell me, does love pay the bills? Does love maintain social standing? Does love ensure the continuation of a family legacy that spans 5 generations? I imagine love makes all of those things worth pursuing. Something flickered in Eleanor's eyes. Annoyance, perhaps, or a grudging hint of respect. We shall see. She rose gracefully, signaling the end of the audience. Dominic, I will speak with you privately before you leave. Vivian, I suppose I will be seeing more of you. It was the closest thing to acceptance Vivian would ever receive. The wedding was enormous and exhausting, and nothing like what Vivian had wanted. She had dreamed of something small, intimate, meaningful. What she got was 500 guests, most of whom she had never met, and a ceremony so elaborate it felt more like a performance than a promise. But there were moments of genuine joy. The look on Dominic's face when she walked down the aisle. His brother Lucas's toast that managed to be both hilarious and heartfelt. The stolen minutes they found alone on the terrace, watching fireworks explode above them. You hate all of this. Dominic pulled her close, his lips against her hair. I can tell. I do not hate it. I just hate that it does not feel like us. The next one will be different. The next one. Our anniversary. 10 years from now. 20. 50. We will renew our vows in your tiny apartment with burnt toast and smoke alarms. Vivian laughed, and for a moment, everything felt right. The first year was beautiful. Difficult in ways she expected, as 2 lives merged into one, but beautiful nonetheless. They found their rhythm. Late dinners when his meetings ran long. Lazy Sunday mornings when nothing existed outside their bedroom. Her design slowly gaining recognition while he celebrated every small success like she had conquered the world. But there were shadows too. Eleanor's continued coolness at every family gathering. The society women who whispered behind Vivian's back about her common origins. The endless expectations of a world she had never asked to join. And the question that grew louder with every passing month. The question Eleanor asked at every opportunity, with false sweetness that barely concealed its sharp edges. Any news yet? Have you seen a doctor? Have you considered fertility treatments? The Ashford name needs an heir after all. Vivian knew Eleanor was investigating her past. She caught glimpses of it. A private detective's car outside their apartment. Questions from old colleagues about her medical history. Pointed comments from Eleanor that suggested she knew about the endometriosis, even though Vivian had only told Dominic. She's trying to find something to use against me. Vivian told Dominic one night, "Your mother has never accepted me, and she never will. She is just protective. It is how she shows love. That is not love, Dominic. That is control." He held her closer but did not argue. And Vivian noticed that he did not defend his mother either. The seed of doubt had been planted, watered by Eleanor's constant dripping poison. Vivian just did not realize how deep the roots had grown until it was too late. 3 years into their marriage, on a cold February morning, Vivian stared at 3 positive pregnancy tests with trembling hands. Impossible. The doctors had said impossible. She had made peace with it, had learned to find fulfillment in her designs, in her marriage, in the life she was building. Children were a door that had closed before she ever got to open it. But here were 3 tests, clear and unmistakable and absolutely terrifying in their implications. She called her doctor first, went in for blood work, sat in the waiting room unable to breathe until the confirmation came. Yes, pregnant. Approximately 8 weeks along. A medical miracle, the doctor called it. Uncommon but not impossible. Her body had done what everyone said could not. Vivian floated through the rest of the day on a cloud of disbelief and joy. She planned how she would tell Dominic. Dinner at their favorite restaurant. A tiny pair of shoes wrapped in a box. His face when he opened it and understood. She did not know that Eleanor Ashford had already made her move. Did not know that while she was dreaming of nurseries and first steps and tiny fingers wrapped around her own, a trap was being set that would destroy everything. Vivian returned to the penthouse that evening, expecting to find it empty. Dominic usually worked late on Thursdays, and she had planned to use the time to prepare her surprise announcement. But when she opened the door, he was there, standing in the middle of their living room, holding a manila envelope like it was a weapon. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. "Dominic," she set down her purse slowly. "You are home early. We need to talk. I actually have something to tell you too." She smiled, still clinging to her joy. "Something wonderful." "I am sure you do." His voice was ice. "I am sure you have many things to tell me. I just wonder how much of it is true. What are you talking about?" He threw the envelope onto the coffee table. The contents spilled across the glass surface. Medical records. Her medical records, but altered, changed. Her diagnosis of endometriosis had been twisted, the language manipulated to sound absolute rather than uncertain. "My mother gave me these today." Dominic's gray eyes held no warmth, only cold accusation. "Documents showing that you knew you could never have children, that you knew it before we met, that you deliberately hid this from me and married me anyway." "That is not." Vivian picked up the papers, scanning them with growing horror. "These are not accurate. This is not what the doctors said. Really. Because these are official medical documents. Are you suggesting they are fake? Someone has changed them." The original diagnosis said, "Unlikely, not impossible." "There is a difference you chose not to share with me." "I did share it with you." Vivian's voice rose with desperation. "Before we got engaged, I told you about my condition. I told you I might not be able to have children. You said might. These documents say definitely, which means either you lied then or you are lying now. Neither. I am telling you the truth. I have always told you the truth." Dominic laughed, and it was the ugliest sound Vivian had ever heard. The truth. From a woman who hid her medical history to trap a wealthy husband. "Trap you?" Vivian felt the floor shifting beneath her feet. "Is that really what you think I did? What else am I supposed to think? My mother has documentation, experts who have reviewed your records. Your mother." Vivian's shock transformed into fury. "Your mother has been trying to destroy me since the day we met. She has never accepted our marriage, And now you are believing her lies over your own wife. She is my family. I am your family. Or I am supposed to be. Dominic was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was flat, final. She says you are probably not even pregnant, that this is all an elaborate scheme to secure your position. And if you are pregnant, it cannot be mine, because you are physically incapable of conceiving. The words hit Vivienne like bullets, each one tearing through flesh, through bone, through the heart that had loved this man with everything she had. You think I would cheat on you? I do not know what to think anymore. Then let me make it simple for you. Vivienne's voice shook with rage and heartbreak. I am pregnant with your child. This is a miracle neither of us expected, but both of us should celebrate. And instead of joy, you are standing here accusing me of lies and schemes, because your mother, who has hated me from day one, showed you some papers. Papers that prove nothing except that someone is willing to fabricate evidence to destroy me. Vivienne grabbed her purse, unable to stay in this room with this stranger who wore her husband's face. I need to leave. I need air. And you need to decide whether you trust your wife or your mother. She made it to the door before his voice stopped her. Maybe I already have. Vivienne turned. The look on his face told her everything. The decision was made. The marriage was over. Whatever had existed between them, whatever she thought was real and true and unbreakable, he had already let it die. What does that mean, Dominic? It means I want the truth. For once in our marriage, I want the truth. I have never lied to you. Not once in 3 years. Then explain the medical records my mother found. The fertility clinic you visited before we met. The doctor who confirmed you were infertile. Vivienne finished for him. Yes, that is what they told me when I was 22. Endometriosis so severe, they said I would likely never conceive naturally. I told you this. I was honest with you. And yet, here you are, claiming to be pregnant with my child. Dominic's gray eyes held no warmth, only cold suspicion. Either you lied to me then, or you are lying to me now. Which is it? Neither. Medical miracles happen. The specialist explained that sometimes, with the right conditions. He laughed without humor, like marrying into one of the wealthiest families in New York, like securing your future by fabricating a pregnancy that is not mine. The accusation hit Vivienne like a physical blow. She staggered backward, catching herself on the doorframe. You think I would do that? After everything we have been through together, I think people are capable of anything when money is involved. Dominic moved toward his home office, already dismissing her. My lawyers will be in touch. I want DNA testing immediately, and when the results prove what I already know, this marriage is over. Dominic, please. You have 48 hours to gather your things. My assistant will arrange temporary accommodation until the divorce is finalized. He paused at the doorway, his profile sharp against the ambient light. I thought you were different, Vivienne. I thought you married me for love, not fortune. Apparently, my mother was right about you from the beginning. Vivienne stood frozen, unable to process the complete destruction of her world. This man, this cold stranger with her husband's face, had just sentenced their marriage to death without even listening. You are not even going to wait for the DNA test. Her voice was barely a whisper. What would be the point? You are either a liar about your medical condition or a liar about the pregnancy. Either way, I cannot trust anything you say. I have always trusted you. Then you are more foolish than I thought. He disappeared into his office. The lock clicked with terrible finality, and Vivienne stood alone in the penthouse they had shared, her hand pressed against her stomach, where their children, the children he would never acknowledge, had just begun to grow. That night, she packed a single suitcase with the few items that had belonged to her before the marriage. The designer clothes, the jewelry, the artwork, she left it all. She wanted nothing that would remind her of this man, this life, this nightmare. The snow was falling harder when she stepped out of the building for the last time. Thomas the doorman pressed an umbrella into her hands with sympathetic eyes but said nothing. Vivienne walked 3 blocks before she allowed herself to cry. The tears froze on her cheeks in the bitter wind. She had no family left. Her parents were gone. Her friends were all connected to Dominic's social circle. She was completely, utterly alone. Except she was not really. She placed both hands on her stomach and made a silent vow to the lives growing inside her. I will give you everything, she whispered into the snow, even if I have nothing else to give. I want to pause here because I know some of you are feeling something right now. Maybe you are angry at Dominic. How could he believe lies over the woman he claimed to love? Maybe you are heartbroken for Vivian. She did nothing wrong and lost everything. Or maybe, and this is harder to admit, you have been in her shoes. You have been the one who was falsely accused, pushed out, thrown away by someone who should have protected you. If this story is hitting close to home, I want you to do something right now. Drop a comment below and tell me what you would do in Vivian's position. Would you fight to prove your innocence? Would you walk away and never look back? Or would you do what Vivian did and build an empire so massive that your success becomes the loudest response? And if you are enjoying this story, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are only getting started, and trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. Vivian is not just going to survive, she's going to thrive in ways nobody could have imagined. The first weeks after leaving the penthouse were the worst of Vivian's life. She had enough money saved for a few nights in a cheap hotel, but that money ran out faster than she expected. The pregnancy made everything harder, morning sickness that lasted all day, exhaustion that pressed down on her like a physical weight, and the constant gnawing fear of how she would provide for a child when she could barely provide for herself. She found a women's shelter that had an open bed. It was humbling, sleeping in a room with strangers, eating meals she had not prepared, accepting help when she had always prided herself on independence. But the women there taught her something valuable. There was no shame in needing support, only in refusing to get back up when life knocked you down. After 3 weeks, she found a basement apartment in Queens. It was small, dark, and damp, but it was hers. She paid the first month's rent with the last of her savings and immediately started looking for work. Her old contacts in fashion were useless. Eleanor Ashford had spread her poison effectively, and word had gotten around that Vivian was a fraud, a gold digger, someone not to be trusted. Doors that might have opened slammed shut before she could even knock, so she pivoted. Retailed during the day at a fabric store where at least she could touch beautiful materials even if she could not afford them. And at night, after her shift ended, she sewed. She made pieces from fabric scraps the store was going to throw away. Simple things at first: scarves, bags, small items she could sell at weekend markets for a few dollars each. The first time someone complimented her work, really complimented it, Vivian nearly cried. "Did you make this yourself?" The woman held up a scarf. Vivian had spent hours hand-stitching with a pattern that mimicked ocean waves. "It is beautiful. Where is your shop?" "I do not have a shop. I just make things." "You should have a shop. This is real talent." Vivian went home that night and cried for entirely different reasons. Maybe she could do this. Maybe she could build something from nothing. Maybe she did not need Dominic Ashford or his mother's approval or anyone else's permission to be extraordinary. The first prenatal appointment brought shocking news. "Miss Moreau," the doctor studied the ultrasound screen with barely contained surprise. "You are aware that multiple births are a possibility with your history." "I am sorry. Multiple what?" "Twins." The doctor turned the screen so Vivian could see. "There are 2 heartbeats." Vivian stared at the grainy image, at the 2 tiny pulsing lights. That represented lives she had not known she was capable of creating. 2. She could barely breathe. There are 2 of them. 2 healthy heartbeats at 12 weeks. Do you have a support system in place? Multiple births can be challenging. Vivian thought of her empty apartment, her non-existent family, her absent husband who had thrown her away like garbage. "I will figure it out." She touched the screen gently, already in love with these impossible miracles. "I will figure everything out." The pregnancy was difficult. Her body, weakened by years of endometriosis, struggled with the demands of carrying twins. She was hospitalized twice for dehydration. The morning sickness never fully stopped. She worked through exhaustion so severe that she sometimes forgot where she was. But every night, she sewed. Every weekend, she sold her pieces at markets. And slowly, impossibly, things began to improve. Customers returned. They told friends. A small boutique in Brooklyn agreed to carry her work on consignment. Then another, then 3 more. She named her brand Fifth Laurent, using her grandmother's maiden name as a tribute to the women who had taught her to sew. It felt right, a connection to her past, a promise for her future. At 34 weeks, her water broke in the middle of a Saturday market. The ambulance ride to the hospital was a blur of pain and terror. The twins were coming 6 weeks early, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop them. Sebastian James came first. 3 pounds, 2 ounces, tiny but fierce, his cry filling the delivery room like a declaration of war against every obstacle he would face. Isabel Rose followed 4 minutes later. 3 pounds even, quieter than her brother, her dark eyes already studying the world with an intensity that would define her. Vivian held them both for the first time in the NICU, her arms wrapped carefully around their incubators, her tears falling freely onto her hospital gown. "I promise you everything," she whispered to her children. "I promise you a life so full of love that you will never feel like you are missing anything. I promise to work hard enough for 3 people. I promise to be your mother and your father and your entire world if that is what it takes." The baby spent 3 weeks in the NICU. Vivian never left the hospital except to sleep, and even then, only for a few hours at a time. She sewed in the waiting room, filling orders for the markets she was missing, refusing to let her business collapse while her children fought to grow stronger. When they finally came home to the basement apartment, Vivian stood in the doorway, holding a car seat in each hand, and wondered how she would possibly do this alone. Then she looked at their faces, Sebastian's serious gray eyes, Isabel's curious dark gaze, and she knew she would find a way. She had to. They were counting on her. The first year was survival mode. Wake at 4 in the morning to sew before the babies woke up. Feed, change, comfort. Drop them at the affordable daycare she had found through the shelter network. Work her retail shift. Pick up the babies. Feed, change, comfort. Sew until midnight. Sleep for 4 hours. Repeat. She lost weight she could not afford to lose. She forgot what it felt like to not be exhausted. She had moments of despair so deep that she could barely drag herself out of bed. But she also had moments of transcendent joy. Sebastian's first smile, Isabel's first laugh, the way they reached for each other in their shared crib, already bonded in ways that defied explanation. And the business grew, slowly at first, then faster. Her weekend market stall became a must-visit destination. The Brooklyn boutiques sold out of her pieces weekly. A fashion blogger discovered her work and wrote a glowing review that brought in more orders than she could fill. By the twins' first birthday, Vivian had saved enough to move to a slightly better apartment, one with windows, one where the ceiling did not leak when it rained. By their second birthday, she had hired her first employee, a seamstress she found through the shelter network, a woman rebuilding her own life, grateful for the opportunity. By their third birthday, V. Laurent was featured in a major fashion magazine. "The mystery designer taking New York by storm," the headline read. The article focused on her work, not her identity. She had learned to protect her privacy fiercely, hiding behind her brand name, giving interviews only by email, never allowing photographs. She had reasons to hide beyond simple preference. Somewhere out there, Dominic Ashford still existed. His company still dominated business news. His face still appeared in society pages. And she refused to give him any opportunity to find her, to discover the children. He had denied, to complicate the life she was building from scratch. The children grew. Sebastian developed his father's analytical mind, asking questions about everything, finding patterns where others saw chaos. By age 4, he was reading at a second-grade level. By age 5, he was talking about starting his own business. Isabel inherited both her parents' creative souls, seeing the world in colors and emotions that she translated into art from the moment she could hold a crayon. Her paintings were not just pictures. They were feelings made visible, so powerful that even strangers stopped to stare. They asked about their father sometimes, not often, because Vivian had been careful to fill their lives with so much. Love that absence felt less like a wound and more like an unanswered question. "Where is our daddy?" Sebastian asked one night when he was 5. Other kids at school have daddies. Vivian knelt down to his level, taking his small hands in hers. "Your daddy could not be part of our lives. It is complicated, and someday, when you are older, I will explain everything. But I need you to know something. It has nothing to do with you. You are perfect, both of you, and you are so loved. But why could he not be here?" Sometimes adults make choices that hurt other people, and sometimes those choices cannot be undone. Sebastian thought about this for a long moment. Then he nodded with the gravity of a child who understood more than he should. "It is okay, Mama. We have you, and you are the best mama in the whole world." Vivian held her children close and tried not to cry. They did not know how much their simple acceptance meant to her. They did not know that their father had thrown them away before they were even born, and she would protect them from that truth for as long as she possibly could. By the time the twins were 6, V. Laurent was a global phenomenon. Flagship stores in New York, Paris, and Tokyo. Celebrity clients who waited months for custom pieces. Magazine covers. Industry awards. A valuation that put her personal worth at over $500 million. But Vivienne remained deliberately invisible. She ran her company from behind the scenes, giving interviews only in writing, appearing at events, only when absolutely necessary, and always with her face obscured or turned away from cameras. The fashion world was obsessed with the mystery. Who was V. Laurent? Was it a single designer or a collective? Was the anonymity a marketing strategy or something more personal? Vivienne let them speculate. The truth was too complicated, too painful, too connected to a past she had worked so hard to escape. And then Lucas Ashford saw her children in a park. Meanwhile, across the city in a penthouse that felt more like a prison than a home, Dominic Ashford was living the consequences of his choices. The divorce had been finalized within weeks of Vivienne's departure. She had never responded to any of the legal paperwork, never claimed the settlement he had offered, never appeared for the DNA test he had demanded. She had simply vanished, and despite his investigators' best effort, no one could find her. At first, Dominic told himself it was for the best. She was clearly guilty. Guilty people ran. Innocent people stayed to fight. But as months passed, then years, doubts began to creep in like shadows at the edges of his certainty. He found himself replaying their final conversation at 3 a.m, searching for signs of deception he might have missed. He remembered the shock in her eyes when he accused her, the genuine hurt in her voice, the way she had looked at him like he was a stranger. If she was guilty, why had she not tried to defend herself more aggressively? Why had she not demanded her own medical experts, her own DNA tests, her own legal team? Why had she simply walked away from everything, including the settlement that would have secured her future? 1 year after the divorce, Dominic hired new investigators, not to find evidence against Vivienne, but to find Vivienne herself. She had disappeared completely. No forwarding address, no employment records, no credit card activity. It was as if Vivienne Moreau had ceased to exist. He also, quietly, sought second opinions on her medical records. The fertility specialist he consulted was confused by the documents Eleanor had provided. These reports are internally inconsistent. The language in some sections does not match standard medical terminology. And this conclusion about permanent infertility contradicts the earlier diagnostic notes. What does that mean? It means someone may have altered these documents. The original diagnosis appears to have indicated unlikely conception, not impossible. With endometriosis, spontaneous pregnancy is rare but absolutely possible. Dominic felt the ground shift beneath his feet. He confronted his mother that evening in the sitting room where she had first evaluated Vivienne like livestock. "Did you alter her medical records? I do not know what you are talking about. I had them reviewed by an independent specialist. He says they have been tampered with, that the language was changed to support a conclusion that was not in the original reports." Eleanor's expression remained placid, but something flickered in her eyes. "I did what was necessary to protect this family." "What did you do, Mother? That woman was never suitable for you. She came from nothing. She had nothing to offer except a pretty face and common ambitions. I simply ensured that you saw her clearly. You fabricated evidence. I corrected a situation that was spiraling out of control. I was married to her. I loved her. You were infatuated. There is a difference." Dominic stared at his mother, seeing her clearly for the first time, seeing the manipulation that had controlled his life since childhood, seeing the poison she had poured into his marriage, seeing the destruction she had caused with her lies. If she was pregnant, his voice was barely a whisper. If she was really pregnant with my child, she was not. It was all a scheme. How do you know that? Eleanor was silent. How do you know that, Mother? Because women like her are always scheming. It is in their nature. Dominic walked out of the Ashford estate that night and never spoke to his mother again. She died 3 years later, alone. The rift between them never healed. But the damage was done. Vivienne was gone. If there had ever been a pregnancy, he would never know what happened to it. And every day that passed, the weight of what he might have done grew heavier. He threw himself into work. The company expanded aggressively. Profits soared. Business magazines called him a genius. They also called him the Ice King, noting his complete lack of personal life, his cold demeanor, his apparent inability to form meaningful connections. He dated occasionally. Society women his mother would have approved of. Beautiful, well-bred, completely wrong for him in every way. Each relationship ended the same way, with Dominic comparing them to Vivienne and finding them lacking. His brother Lucas watched with growing concern. "You need to move on, Dominic," Lucas told him one evening over drinks. "What happened with Vivienne was terrible, but you cannot spend the rest of your life punishing yourself." "I am not punishing myself. You have not had a real relationship in 7 years. You work 18-hour days. You live in a penthouse you never decorated because it still looks exactly the way she left it. How is that not punishment? I am focused on the company. You are hiding from life." Dominic had no response to that. And then, 1 month before the Metropolitan Museum Gala, Lucas called with news that would change everything. "I saw children in the park today." Lucas's voice was strange, uncertain. 2 children. Twins. A boy and a girl. "Why are you telling me about random children in the park?" "Because they looked exactly like grandmother's portrait. The same bone structure. The same gray eyes. The same expressions." Dominic's heart stopped. "What are you saying?" "I am saying I hired someone to investigate. I am saying I know who V. Laurent really is. And I am saying those children are Ashford's, Dominic. Anyone who looks at them can see it. Which means our mother was wrong about everything. And you threw away the only woman who ever really loved you while she was carrying your children." The silence stretched for an eternity. Then Dominic said, "Find me everything. Every detail. Every document. Everything about her life for the past 7 years. And then I need to figure out how to fix what I destroyed, if it can even be fixed anymore." That brings us back to where we started. The Metropolitan Museum Gala, the champagne glass shattering on marble floors. The woman in the midnight blue gown descending the stairs like a queen returning to claim her throne. Dominic had spent weeks preparing for this moment, reviewing the investigators' reports, studying photos of the children, his children, looking for himself in their faces and finding it everywhere. Understanding the full scope of what Vivienne had accomplished, the empire she had built from nothing while raising his twins alone. He had prepared speeches, apologies, explanations. He had practiced what he would say if he got the chance to speak to her, how he would beg for forgiveness, how he would try to make her understand that he was not the same man who had destroyed their marriage. But when he actually saw her, all of it vanished. Every prepared word disappeared. All that remained was shock and shame and something that felt dangerously like hope. "You are V. Laurent. You built all of this." His voice sounded foreign to his own ears. "You are." And there was Vivienne, calm and composed and utterly uninterested in his shock. "I built it from nothing. After you took everything else away, my talent was all I had left. That and 2 children who gave me a reason to keep fighting. Children. Twins. Sebastian and Isabel. They are 7 years old now, beautiful, brilliant, and the reason I am still standing." The room spun. The floor seemed to tilt beneath his feet. 7 years old. Twins. His children. The children he had denied. The children who had grown up without him because he had believed lies over truth. "They look just like you, Dominic." Vivienne's voice cut through his spiral. "Everyone who sees them comments on their gray eyes and dark curls. But you would not know that, would you? Because you decided I was a liar before you ever looked for the truth." He wanted to drop to his knees. He wanted to beg. He wanted to turn back time 7 years and make different choices. But before he could say anything, there was a commotion at the entrance to the gallery. Security guards were trying to stop someone and failing, and then 2 small figures broke through the crowd and ran straight toward Vivienne. "Mama, we could not sleep. We wanted to see you in your dress, a boy and a girl. 7 years old, with dark curls and gray eyes and faces that looked exactly like the portraits of Ashford children that hung in his family's estate. His children, his beautiful, impossible, abandoned children, looking at him like he was a stranger, because to them, he was. Sebastian noticed him first, studied him with unsettling intensity, then asked the question that would shatter what remained of Dominic's composure. "You have the same eyes as me." "Yes." Dominic could barely form words. "I do." "And the same chin." "Yes." A long pause. Then, with the devastating clarity of childhood. Are you our father? The one who made Mama cry in the old photographs. The entire gallery went silent. Every eye was on them. Every whisper died. In that moment, there was only this: a man facing the consequences of his choices, a woman who had risen above his cruelty, and two children waiting for an answer that would change their lives. Yes, Dominic's voice cracked. I am your father, and I am the one who made your mother cry. I did something terrible 7 years ago, and I have regretted it every single day since. Did you say sorry? I am trying to. I am not sure sorry is big enough for what I did. Isabel tilted her head, studying him with an artist's intensity. Mama says that when you hurt someone, sorry is just the beginning. You have to show them with actions, not just words. Your mother is very wise. She is the best mama in the whole world. Sebastian's voice held a protective edge that made Dominic's heart ache. She built everything we have all by herself. She did not need anyone's help. I know. Dominic could not stop the tears that ran down his face. I can see that. She is the strongest person I have ever known. I should have believed in her strength when I had the chance. The gallery remained frozen. 500 of Manhattan's elite stood in absolute silence, watching a billionaire kneel on marble floors before two children who had just learned he was their father. Vivienne moved first. She stepped forward and placed her hands gently on her children's shoulders, drawing them closer to her. The protective gesture was instinctive, the kind of movement that comes from 7 years of being their only shield against the world. We should go home. Her voice was calm, but firm. It is past bedtime, and we all have a lot to process. Do we have to? Isabel looked up at her mother with wide eyes. I have more questions. I know you do, sweetheart, and we will answer them. But not here, not like this. Sebastian had not stopped studying Dominic. His gray eyes, so like his father's, held an intensity that seemed far beyond his 7 years. Are you going to disappear again? The question was direct, almost clinical, because if you are, it would be better to know now. Dominic flinched, as if the words had been a physical blow. I am not going to disappear. How do we know that? You disappeared before. Mama was pregnant, and you left. Sebastian. Vivienne's voice held a warning. That is a conversation for another time. But Mama, another time. The boy fell silent, but his expression made it clear that the question was not forgotten, simply postponed. Dominic rose slowly from his knees, acutely aware that every person in the gallery was watching this unfold. The society pages would be filled with this moment tomorrow. The billionaire CEO discovering he had secret twins. The mysterious V. Laurent revealed as his discarded ex-wife. The scandal would be enormous. He found he did not care, not even slightly. Vivienne, please. His voice was raw, stripped of the polished control he usually wore like armor. I know I have no right to ask for anything, but please do not shut me out completely. Let me try to make this right. You cannot make 7 years right. I know, but let me try anyway. Vivienne studied him for a long moment. The man before her was not the cold stranger who had thrown her out of their home. This version of Dominic was cracked open, vulnerable, desperate in ways she had never seen before. She did not trust it. She had trusted him once, completely and foolishly, and it had nearly destroyed her. She would not make that mistake again. But she also looked at her children, at Sebastian's analytical gaze, and Isabel's artistic curiosity. They deserved the chance to know their father, even if their father had not deserved to know them. Thursdays. The word came out before she had fully decided to say it. We have dinner at 6. I will send you the address. Something shifted in Dominic's expression. Hope, perhaps, or disbelief that she was offering anything at all. Thank you. Do not thank me yet. This is not forgiveness. This is not absolution. This is me giving my children the opportunity to decide for themselves whether you are worth knowing. If you hurt them, if you disappoint them, if you give them any reason to doubt your commitment, you will never see them again. Do you understand? I understand. Good. Vivienne took her children's hands and began walking toward the exit. Then, we will see you Thursday. The crowd parted before her like waves before a ship. She walked with her head high and her shoulders back, every inch the queen she had become. And behind her, Dominic stood alone in the gallery, surrounded by whispers and stares, knowing that he had been given something he did not deserve. A chance. A single, fragile, impossibly precious chance. He would not waste it. The drive home was quiet. Isabel fell asleep against her mother's shoulder, exhausted by the evening's emotional upheaval. Sebastian stayed awake, staring out the window at the city lights, processing everything in his methodical way. "Mama," his voice was soft, careful not to wake his sister. Why did he leave? Vivian had been dreading this question for 7 years. She had rehearsed answers, discarded them, rehearsed new ones. Nothing ever felt right. "It is complicated, sweetheart. I am smart. I can understand complicated things. I know you can." Vivian pulled him closer, pressing a kiss to the top of his head. "Your father and I loved each other very much when we got married, but his family did not approve of me. And when I found out I was pregnant with you and your sister, there were lies told. Lies that made your father believe I was not being honest with him." "What kind of lies?" "The kind that are hard to undo. The kind that came from people he should have been able to trust." Sebastian was quiet for a moment. Did he try to find us? After he knew the lies were lies, Vivian thought about how to answer. The truth was that she did not know what Dominic had done in the years after she left. She had been too focused on survival, on building her business, on raising her children. She had not wasted energy wondering about the man who had abandoned her. "I think he tried, but I was hiding. I changed my name and moved and made sure no one from his world could find me. Because you were protecting us, yes. And now you are old enough to have opinions. You are old enough to decide if you want him in your life. I will not make that choice for you." Sebastian considered this with the gravity of someone much older. "What do you want, Mama? Do you want him in your life?" The question caught Vivian off guard. She had been so focused on the children, on their needs and their feelings, that she had not allowed herself to consider her own. "I do not know yet. I think I need to see who he has become before I can answer that." "Fair enough." Sebastian nodded solemnly. "I will reserve judgment too. But if he makes you cry again, I will not forgive him." Vivian held her son tighter and tried not to let him see the tears that had started to fall. When had he grown up so much? When had her little boy become this fierce protector? "I love you, Sebastian. I love you too, Mama. And I love Isabel. And we love each other. We are a team. Always." They rode the rest of the way in comfortable silence, the lights of the city streaming past like stars falling to earth. The first Thursday arrived with all the weight of impending judgment. Dominic had spent the entire week preparing. He had consulted with child psychologists about how to approach meeting children for the first time. He had researched appropriate gifts that would show thoughtfulness without appearing to buy affection. He had practiced what he would say until the words felt rehearsed and hollow, then thrown away the script entirely. In the end, he showed up at Vivian's brownstone in Brooklyn with 2 carefully chosen gifts and a heart full of terror. The home was not what he expected. It was warm where his penthouse was cold, filled with art and books and evidence of lives well lived. Photographs on every surface showed the twins at various ages, sometimes with Vivian, sometimes with a kind-faced older woman who must have been a caretaker. There were no photographs of him, no evidence that he had ever existed in their world. As it should be, he had not earned a place in these photographs. He had not been there for any of these moments. "You are early." Vivian's voice came from the kitchen. "Dinner is not ready yet. I can help, if you want. Do you know how to cook? I have learned some things over the years." Vivian appeared in the doorway, an apron over her designer clothes, flower on her cheek. She looked more beautiful than she had at the gala, more real, more like the woman he had fallen in love with in Paris. "The children are in the living room. You can go introduce yourself properly while I finish up." Dominic nodded and walked toward the sound of voices. He found Sebastian reading a book about young entrepreneurs and Isabel painting at an easel by the window. They both looked up when he entered, their expressions guarded but curious. "Hello." He stood awkwardly in the doorway. "I brought you something, if you want them." Sebastian set down his book. "What kind of something?" Dominic approached slowly, giving them space, not wanting to overwhelm. He handed Sebastian a wrapped package first. "I heard you are interested in business. This is a first edition of a book about young entrepreneurs who changed the world. Some of them started companies when they were not much older than you." Sebastian unwrapped the book carefully, his eyes widening when he saw the title and the author's signature on the inside cover. "This is a first edition." "It is. How did you know I like business? Your mother told me. And your Uncle Lucas. Uncle Lucas. Sebastian's brow furrowed. We do not have an Uncle Lucas. You do actually. He is my brother. He is the one who found you and told me who you were. He has been wanting to meet you. Dominic turned to Isabel, who had been watching with paint-stained fingers. And for you, I brought these. He handed her a larger box. Inside was a set of professional-grade art supplies. The kind of paints and brushes and canvases that serious artists used, not the children's versions sold in toy stores. Isabel opened the box and gasped. These are real artist things. I saw some of your work in the photographs. Your mother sent pictures when I asked. You have real talent, Isabel. You deserve real tools. The little girl looked up at him with something that might have been the beginning of warmth. Nobody calls me Isabel except teachers when I am in trouble. What do they call you? Belle? Or Izzy? Or sometimes Bellissima when Mama is being silly. Bellissima. Dominic smiled, remembering. Your mother used to call me ridiculous names when she was being silly too. Like what? He thought for a moment. She used to call me her grumpy prince, because I always looked so serious in the mornings before coffee. Isabel giggled. That is silly. I know. I miss it. The admission hung in the air between them. Dominic had not meant to say it, had not meant to reveal how much he had lost, but it was true. He missed everything about Vivian. Her laughter, her creativity, her ability to see through his carefully constructed walls. Sebastian was studying him again with those unnerving gray eyes. You really did not know about us. No, I really did not. Why not? Mama was pregnant when she left. Did you not think about where she went? I thought. Dominic paused, trying to find words that were honest but appropriate for a child. I was told lies by someone I should not have trusted, and instead of believing your mother, I believed the lies. By the time I realized my mistake, she was gone. I looked for her. For years, I looked, but she did not want to be found. Because you hurt her. Yes, because I hurt her badly. Sebastian closed his book and set it aside. I do not understand how you could believe lies over Mama. She's the most honest person I know. I know that now. I knew it then too, deep down. But I was scared and foolish, and I listened to the wrong people. Are you still scared and foolish? Dominic considered the question seriously. Probably. I am definitely still scared, but I am trying to be less foolish. Isabel had been listening while examining her new art supplies. She looked up with a direct gaze that reminded him painfully of Vivian. Mama cried for a long time when we were little. She thought we did not notice, but we did. She would wait until we were asleep, and then she would cry in the kitchen. Dominic felt his heart crack open a little more. I am so sorry, Isabel. Belle, I am so sorry, Belle. I am sorry I hurt your mother. I am sorry I was not there. I am sorry for all of it. The little girl studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded once, as if checking something off a list. Okay, but you have to be nice to her now. You have to make her laugh instead of cry. I will try. I promise I will try. Dinner was awkward but not unbearable. The children asked questions, some of which Dominic could answer, and some of which he had to defer to Vivian. She handled everything with grace, neither defending him nor condemning him, simply presenting facts and letting the children draw their own conclusions. By the end of the evening, something had shifted. Not trust, not yet, but the beginning of possibility. The children agreed that he could come again next Thursday. Vivian agreed to continue supervising the visits. And Dominic left with a heart fuller than it had been in 7 years. As he walked to his car, Sebastian appeared on the front steps behind him. Mr. Ashford. Dominic turned. You can call me Dominic, or whatever feels comfortable. I will stick with Mr. Ashford for now. Sebastian's voice was formal, careful. I wanted to tell you something. What is that? I am going to be watching you. Isabel believes people easily. She wants to like everyone, but I do not. I remember every time Mama cried. I remember her working 3 jobs while we were babies. I remember all of it. So you should know that I am not going to forgive you just because you showed up with nice gifts and apologies. I understand. Good. Sebastian turned to go back inside, then paused. But the book was a good choice. I will read it. I hope you enjoy it. The door closed, and Dominic stood alone on the Brooklyn sidewalk, feeling like He had just been evaluated by the toughest interviewer he had ever faced. His 7-year-old son, the son he had denied, the son who had every right to hate him but was willing to give him a chance anyway. He would earn that trust, whatever it took, however long it required. The weeks turned into months. Every Thursday, Dominic appeared at the brownstone with new gifts and old questions and a desperate desire to know his children. He learned that Sebastian hated being called Seb and loved being taken seriously. He learned that Isabel, Belle, saw colors where other people saw emotions and could capture feelings on canvas that words could not express. He learned that they protected each other fiercely, that they had their own language of glances and gestures, that they completed each other's sentences in ways that twins often did. He also learned about the life he had missed, the first steps he was not there to celebrate, the first words he never heard, the birthdays with handmade cakes because store-bought was too expensive, the nights Vivian worked until her fingers bled to provide for them. Every story was a knife. Every detail was a reminder of what his cruelty had cost. And every Thursday, he showed up anyway, determined to build something new even though he could never repair what was lost. Vivian watched from a careful distance. She supervised the visits without participating directly, giving the children space to form their own opinions while maintaining boundaries that protected everyone. But she noticed things. She noticed how Dominic listened to Sebastian's business ideas with genuine respect, never dismissing them as childish. She noticed how he sat for hours while Isabel painted his portrait, staying perfectly still despite obvious discomfort. She noticed how he arrived early every Thursday and stayed until the children's bedtime, never cutting visits short, never prioritizing work over their time. She noticed, though she did not want to, how different he seemed from the man who had thrown her away. 3 months into the Thursday visits, Vivian received a phone call that changed everything. Mrs. Moreau, this is St. Catherine's Elementary. There has been an accident. Sebastian fell from the climbing structure at recess. We believe his arm may be broken. Vivian's blood ran cold. I am on my way. We have already tried to reach you. When we could not get through, we called the emergency contact you listed. The emergency contact. Vivian's mind raced. She had updated the school forms weeks ago, almost without thinking. When had she added Dominic to the list? Why had she added him? He is already here, Mrs. Moreau. He arrived 10 minutes ago. Vivian broke every speed limit getting to the hospital. She ran through the emergency room doors with her heart in her throat, terrified of what she would find. What she found was Dominic sitting beside Sebastian's bed, holding her son's uninjured hand and telling him a story about the time he broke his own arm as a child. Sebastian was laughing. Despite the pain, despite the swollen arm and a temporary splint, her fierce, serious boy was laughing. And it was just a stupid jump. Dominic was saying, my brother dared me to leap off the garden wall, and I thought I could make it. I could not make it. How far did you fall? About 8 feet. Landed right on my arm. Snap. That is exactly what mine sounded like. Sebastian's face was pale but animated. Did you cry? Of course I cried. I was 9 years old and my arm was pointing the wrong direction. Anyone would cry. I did not cry. Sebastian said with obvious pride. I wanted to, but I did not. That is because you are braver than I was. Vivian stood in the doorway, watching this moment between father and son, and felt something shift in her chest. Something she had kept carefully locked away for 7 years. Mama. Sebastian spotted her and reached out with his good arm. You came. Of course I came. She rushed to his side, kissing his forehead, examining his splint. I came as fast as I could. What happened? I was trying to show Marcus that I could do the advanced climb. I got to the top, but then my foot slipped. The doctor says it is a clean break. Dominic spoke quietly, deferentially. They are going to set it and put on a cast. He should heal completely in 6 to 8 weeks. Vivian looked at him for the first time since entering the room. She saw the worry in his eyes, the tear tracks on his cheeks that he had tried to hide, the way his hands were still shaking slightly even as he tried to appear calm. You came. The school called. I dropped everything. You were in a meeting. You had that merger presentation today. There is nothing more important than this. Dominic's voice was raw, honest. Nothing in the world is more important than being here right now. Sebastian looked between his parents with interest. See, Mama. He came. I see. He held my hand in the ambulance. Sebastian continued. and he told me stories so I would not think about the pain. And he only cried a little when he thought I was not looking. Dominic winced. I was hoping you had not noticed that. I notice everything, Sebastian said matter-of-factly, but it is okay. Mama says it is good for people to show their feelings. The doctor arrived then, interrupting the moment with medical necessities. The arm was set. The cast was applied. Sebastian chose bright blue for the color and immediately started planning which friends would sign it first. Through it all, Dominic stayed. He held Sebastian's other hand during the painful parts. He made jokes during the boring parts. He listened intently when the doctor explained the aftercare instructions, asking questions and taking notes on his phone. And when they were finally discharged, when Vivienne was exhausted and Sebastian was drowsy from pain medication, and the whole ordeal was over, Dominic carried her son to the car with a gentleness that made her throat tight. Thank you. The words came out before she could stop them. For being here. For all of it. You do not have to thank me. He settled Sebastian into the back seat, careful not to jostle the injured arm. This is what fathers do, or what they should do anyway. Vivienne did not respond, but something in her expression made him pause. What is it? I added you to the emergency contact list weeks ago, she admitted. I did not even realize I had done it until today. What does that mean? I think it means I trust you, at least with the children. I'm not sure when that happened. I will not let you down. I will not let them down. I am starting to believe that. They drove back to the brownstone in silence, but it was a different kind of silence than before. Something had broken open between them. Some wall had come down, and neither of them knew quite what to do with the space that remained. That night, after Sebastian was settled in bed with his cast elevated on pillows and Isabel was curled up beside him, refusing to leave his side, Vivienne found Dominic in her kitchen. He was washing dishes, the plates from dinner that she had abandoned when the phone rang. His sleeves were rolled up and soap suds covered his forearms, and he looked more human than she had ever seen him. You do not have to do that. I know. I want to. Vivienne leaned against the doorframe, watching him work. When did you learn to wash dishes? When I stopped having someone else do everything for me. He rinsed a plate and set it in the drying rack. After you left, I let go of most of the household staff. The silence in the penthouse was already unbearable. Having strangers moving around only made it worse. So you learned to take care of yourself. I learned to take care of myself. Not very well at first. I ruined a lot of laundry, burned a lot of food, but eventually I figured it out. Vivienne was quiet for a moment. The question she had been avoiding for months finally fought its way to the surface. Why did you believe her, your mother, over me? Dominic stopped washing. His hands stilled in the soapy water, and his shoulders dropped with the weight of years of regret. I have asked myself that question 1,000 times. The honest answer is that I was afraid. Afraid of what? That you were too good to be true. That I did not deserve someone like you. My mother spent my entire childhood teaching me that people wanted things. From us, that trust was weakness. That love was a transaction. When she showed me those documents, part of me was almost relieved. Relieved. Because it proved what I had always feared, that no one could love me for myself, that you must have had an ulterior motive. He turned to face her, his eyes red-rimmed but steady. I know that sounds insane. I know it does not excuse anything, but you asked for honesty, and that is the truth. My mother poisoned my ability to trust long before I met you, and when she offered me a reason to doubt, I took it because it was easier than believing in something beautiful. It was not easier for me. I know. I destroyed us. I destroyed you. I spent 7 years living with that knowledge, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make amends. Vivienne crossed her arms, protecting herself from the vulnerability of this conversation. I used to dream about this, you know. In the early years, I would imagine you finding us, apologizing, begging for forgiveness. In my dreams, I always turned you away, slammed doors in your face. I showed you what it felt like to be rejected. And now I see my son laughing while you hold his hand. I see my daughter painting your portrait with actual affection. I see you showing up week after week, never pushing, never demanding, just being present in ways you never were before. Is that enough? I do not know yet. Vivienne uncrossed her arms, letting her guard down just slightly. But I know it is more than I expected. And I know I am tired of being angry. The anger kept me alive for a long time, but I do not want to carry it anymore. What do you want instead? I want my children to have a father who deserves them. I want to stop looking over my shoulder for threats that might not come. I want, she paused, uncertain how to finish. I want to know if the man I love still exists somewhere, or if I imagined him entirely. He exists. Dominic stepped closer, stopping at a respectful distance. He is right here, hoping for a chance to prove it. Then prove it, not with grand gestures or expensive gifts. Prove it with time, with consistency, with being the father and the person you should have been all along. I will. They stood in the kitchen, two people with years of pain between them, tentatively reaching towards something that might be healing. Neither of them knew exactly what the future held, but for the first time in 7 years, they were both willing to find out. 6 months later, the pattern had become a rhythm. Thursdays turned into Thursdays and Sundays. Sundays turned into additional weeknight dinners. Additional dinners turned into Dominic becoming a regular presence in the household. He attended every school event, every parent-to-teacher conference, every art show and debate competition and science fair. He learned the names of Sebastian's friends and the titles of Isabel's favorite books. He became proficient at braiding hair and packing lunches and all the other small skills that parenthood required. The children accepted him in stages. Isabel first, her generous heart quick to forgive and eager to connect. Sebastian more slowly, his trust earned through countless small tests, each one passed with patience and consistency. And Vivian watched it all unfold, feeling the walls around her heart slowly crumble. She began allowing herself to remember the good parts of their marriage. The late-night conversations, the shared laughter, the way he had looked at her like she was the only person in the world who mattered. Those moments had been real. She had not imagined them, and she started to wonder if they could be real again. One evening, after the children were asleep and Dominic was preparing to leave, Vivian stopped him at the door. I have a question. Anything. When you imagine the future, what does it look like? Dominic was quiet for a moment, considering his answer carefully. I imagine being here, not as a visitor, but as part of this family. I imagine waking up to the sounds of our children arguing over breakfast cereal. I imagine growing old with you beside me. I imagine making up for lost time in every way I possibly can. That is a big imagination. I have had 7 years to develop it. Vivian reached out and took his hand. It was the first time she had initiated physical contact since his return. I am not ready to promise anything, but I am ready to consider possibilities. That is more than I dared to hope for. Good, because I have conditions. He smiled slightly. I would expect nothing less. The children come first, always, no matter what happens between us. Agreed. We take things slowly, no rushing, no pressure. Agreed. And if at any point this stops working, if you revert to the man you were before, it ends, immediately and permanently. Agreed. Vivian squeezed his hand. Then I suppose you should stay for coffee. Just coffee. For now. It was a beginning, small and cautious and fragile. But it was real. The following year was a journey of careful reconstruction. They dated, if that word could describe what they were doing. Dinners alone after the children were asleep. Long walks through the city where they'd fallen in love and fallen apart. Conversations that lasted until dawn, filling in the gaps of 7 years apart. Dominic sold the penthouse. He said it was too full of ghosts. He bought a townhouse in Brooklyn, close to Vivian's brownstone, close to the children's school. A home instead of a monument. Vivian let him into her world gradually. He met her business partners. He saw her design studio. He understood, finally, the magnitude of what she had built from the ashes he had created. The children thrived in ways that surprised everyone. Sebastian, no longer carrying the weight of being the only protector, allowed himself to be a child again. Isabel's art grew bolder, freer, filled with colors that spoke of joy rather than longing. And slowly, imperceptibly, the family became whole. 1 year after the gala, on the anniversary of the night everything changed, Dominic planned something special. I want to take you somewhere. He told Vivian after their Sunday dinner. The children can stay with Lucas. I have already asked. Where are we going? It is a surprise. I'm not sure I like surprises. You will like this one. I promise. He drove her to Brooklyn, to a tiny Italian restaurant she did not recognize until they stepped inside and she gasped. This is where I told you I was falling in love with you. Dominic guided her to the same table they had shared 8 years ago, where you changed my life forever. How is this place still here? I thought it closed years ago. It did. I bought the building and reopened it. Just for tonight. Vivian looked around at the familiar decor, the candles on every table, the soft music that played in the background. It was exactly as she remembered, down to the wine list and the bread basket. You are insane. Probably. But I wanted to do this right. He reached across the table and took her hands. 8 years ago, I sat at this table and told you I was falling in love with you. I did not know then how to love properly. I did not know how to trust or be trusted. I did not know that love requires courage, and I was a coward. Dominic, let me finish. Please. She nodded, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I cannot undo what I did. I cannot give you back the years I stole, but I can promise you every year that remains. I can promise to love you with the courage I lacked before. I can promise to trust you, to believe you, to choose you every single day for the rest of my life. He pulled a small box from his pocket, not the ring from their first engagement. That ring had been a symbol of the man he used to be, the billionaire heir playing at love without understanding what it meant. This ring was simpler, elegant, a diamond set in rose gold, surrounded by smaller stones that caught the light like stars. I am not asking you to forget the past. I am asking you to build a future. With me, with our children, with the family we were always supposed to have. Vivian looked at the ring, at the man holding it, at the life stretching out before them like an unwritten story. I have conditions. I would expect nothing less. You take my name this time. We are the Laurent family, or the Laurent Ashfords if you need to keep some piece of your identity, but I am not becoming an Ashford again. Dominic Laurent. He tested the words. I like it. And the wedding is small. Just family. Just the people who were there when things were hard. Done. And you understand that I am not the same woman you married the first time. I am stronger now, more independent. I do not need you. I am choosing you because I want to, not because I have to. I know. That is part of why I love you. Vivian reached out and took the ring from the box. She slid it onto her own finger, a declaration of agency that was entirely appropriate. Then yes, I will build this future with you. Dominic's smile was the brightest thing in the room. He came around the table and knelt beside her, taking her face in his hands. I love you. I have loved you since the moment you crashed into me backstage in Paris and told me I was in your way. I will love you for the rest of my life, however long that is and whatever it holds. I love you too. Vivian kissed him softly, even when I tried not to, even when loving you felt like the most dangerous thing I could do. I never stopped. They stayed at the restaurant until midnight, talking about the future, planning the wedding, dreaming of the life they would build together. And when they finally left, walking hand in hand through the streets where they had fallen in love, both of them knew that this time would be different. This time, they had earned it. The wedding was held in Vivian's backyard 3 months later, under the oak tree where the children loved to play. 50 guests, no society photographers, no elaborate decorations, just flowers and fairy lights and the people who mattered most. Sebastian walked his mother down the aisle, his young face serious with the gravity of the moment. Isabel served as flower girl, painting petals with watercolors beforehand so that each one was a tiny work of art. Lucas stood as best man, openly crying through the entire ceremony. Mrs. Patterson, the nanny who would become family, sat in the front row and beamed with satisfaction. The vows were simple and honest. I promise to trust you, Vivian said, even when I am afraid, especially when I am afraid. I promise to keep building, keep creating, keep fighting. With you, not against you. I promise to show up, Dominic responded. Every day. For every moment. I promise that sorry will never just be a word. It will be a way of living. I promise to love you better than I knew how before. After the ceremony, the children gave speeches that left everyone in tears. Sebastian went first, standing at the microphone with notes he had spent weeks preparing. When I first met my father, I did not trust him. I remembered all the times Mama cried. I remembered her working so hard just to keep us fed. I thought he was just going to hurt us again. He paused, looking at Dominic with an expression that had grown from suspicion to respect. But he kept showing up. Every Thursday, every Sunday, every time we needed him. He was there when I broke my arm. He was there when I won the debate competition. He was there for everything that mattered. Sebastian straightened his shoulders. I'm not saying I have forgiven everything. Some things take time. But I'm saying that my father is not the same person he was before. He learned to be better, and that gives me hope that anyone can change if they try hard enough." He walked over and hugged his father, a brief, fierce embrace that said more than words ever could. Isabel's speech was shorter but no less impactful. She brought her latest painting to the microphone, a canvas showing a tree with many leaves. "This is our family tree," she explained, holding it up for everyone to see. "When I was little, I used to paint trees with only 3 leaves, Mama and Sebastian and me. I did not know how to add more." She pointed to the new additions. "This leaf is Papa. It took me a long time to figure out what color he should be. I tried gray because of his eyes. I tried blue because of his sadness. But then I realized he should be gold, because gold is the color of second chances, and second chances are precious." She looked at her parents with a smile that held no hesitation. "Now our tree has more leaves than I can count. We have Uncle Lucas and Mrs. Patterson and all the new people who love us. We are a real family, and that is the best painting I have ever made." The reception lasted until the stars came out, dancing under fairy lights, stories shared over wine, children running through the garden until they collapsed from exhaustion. Later that night, after the guests had gone and the children were asleep and the caterers had cleaned up, Vivian and Dominic stood together on the porch of their home. Their home, not his or hers, but theirs. "Do you have any regrets?" she asked, leaning into his embrace. "Only one." "What is that?" "That it took me so long to become someone who deserved you. That we lost 7 years we could have had together. We needed those years." Vivian turned to face him. "I needed them to become who I am now. You needed them to become who you are. If we had stayed together back then, we might never have grown. So you're saying getting divorced was a good thing. I am saying that sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead to the best things. I would not have built Ville Laurent if I had not been desperate. You would not have learned humility if you had not been broken." She touched his face gently. "We are not the same people who got married the first time. We are better, and this marriage will be better because of it. I love you." It was simple, absolute, true. "I love you too. And this time, I am not afraid to believe it." They went inside to begin their new life, not as strangers who fell in love, not as broken people who hurt each other, but as partners who had fought through the worst and found their way back. The story of Dominic and Vivienne Laurent was far from over. There would be challenges ahead, arguments, difficult moments, the inevitable struggles of blending lives that had grown separately. But they faced all of it together, with trust they had earned, with love they had chosen, with the knowledge that some stories do not end with happily ever after. They end with the courage to try again. This story is not just about a billionaire and the wife he wronged. It is about all of us. It is about what happens when we let fear make our decisions, when we trust the wrong voices instead of our own hearts, when we destroy beautiful things because we are too scared to believe in them. But it is also about resilience, about rising when everyone expects you to fall, about building empires from scraps and raising children with love even when the world offers nothing. And finally, it is about forgiveness, not the easy kind that pretends nothing happened, but the hard kind that acknowledges the wound and chooses healing anyway. Some mistakes can be redeemed. Some bridges can be rebuilt, but only if we are willing to do the work, not just say sorry, but live sorry every single day. If this story touched your heart, I need you to do something right now. Hit that like button. It helps more people find stories like this one. Subscribe to Billionaire Love Stories with Mr. Brad so you never miss another emotional journey. And share this video with someone who needs to hear that second chances are possible. I want to know what part of this story resonated with you most. Was it Vivienne's strength, Dominic's redemption, the children's wisdom? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Remember that the greatest revenge is not destruction. It is living so beautifully that your success becomes undeniable. It is proving every doubter wrong by becoming exactly who they said you could not be. Vivienne did not just survive what Dominic did to her. She thrived. She built an empire. She raised extraordinary children. And when the man who destroyed her finally came back, she did not slam the door in his face. She made him earn his way through it. That is real power, not the ability to hurt those who hurt you, but the strength to heal and help others heal along with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for feeling. Thank you for believing in stories that matter. And remember, Every ending is just a new beginning waiting to happen.